Hi guys, welcome back to our Maine homestead. It's been a little while since we posted a building vlog update, so we wanted to catch you guys up on some of the things that we've accomplished over the last few weeks. So we were able to get the insulation and all of the strapping done on the back of the house. Last time you saw that we did finish all of that on the front. The only thing that's left to do back here is tape. So Eddie is gearing up to head up the scaffolding, get up on the roof, and tape all of the seams. We've also built the deck box on the back here, and we have strapped that. We do have to finish a little bit of strapping on just the front of the deck box, but we are almost ready to start putting up some OSB sheathing and get to work on putting up the metal roofing. But first, I want Eddie to explain the deck box purpose and why we did it this way. So here we go. All right, Eddie, so tell us about that deck box.
Well, it's pretty simple. So the house is insulated, of course, and so the insulation for the roof comes over past the edge of the house, and then the wall insulation will meet and form a bond with the roof insulation, so that there's a continuous insulation envelope around the entire house. The decks, both decks, are not going to be insulated, at least for now. So we built this box with lumber that's the same height as our insulation, and so since it's uninsulated, it's just an open space, but it needs to match the same profile of the roof. So that we wanted the roof to be the same height all the way across. So we built the box and nailed it into the rafters so that the roof is one continuous height, depth all the way across. So it's just a void. There'll still be a ventilation space over the top of the box, but the box is actually hollow, of course. And we went ahead and finished the back strapping. So it, just like with the insulation is the same thickness as the box, and so to make the roof the same height, we need to put the same strapping on top of the box that we put on top of the insulation, and then there'll be a layer of sheathing on top of that, and then the metal roofing goes on top of that. But we finished the strapping in the back and haven't done the strapping in the front, because that requires moving the big ass scaffolding, which is triple decker. You have to tape the top two decks down to roll it under through the deck to the front of the house, and then put it back together. So we're trying to minimize doing that as much as possible, because it's not so difficult, but it just adds to the workload. So we're trying now to finish the back with everything we can before we move to the front. Then we will strap the front box. We've got to take some measurements, and then we're ready to, we've got to snap lines, cut the strapping off so that it's consistent on the rake ends, or the gabled ends, and then along both eaves, snap lines. We have to take measurements first and then make those consistent overhangs before we put the OSB up on those lines, obviously, and work our way to the peak. But the last thing to do in the back before we can move it to the front, after we get it taped, is to build and put up the chimney, which we started a little bit on that yesterday because it started raining when I was taping. You can't tape in the rain, it doesn't stick very well. So today, hopefully, we'll get the chimney finished. We'll go ahead and put it up and mount it. It gets screwed into the rafters just like the insulation strapping does, all the way down deep into the rafters, so it's not going anywhere. They're like lag bolts, so, or lag screws. So it'll get screwed into the actual rafters, but not framed yet. It won't be completely plumb, more than likely. We want to put your sheathing on after the frame is screwed to the house. That way you can plumb it up with the sheathing. Plumbing meaning getting it straight up and down. You don't want it kind of going like that. But that's after the fact. We're not going to plumb it up until after we put the OSB on top of all the strapping. So that'll be one of the last things we do before we sheath the chimney and put a top on it. And we've got a local Amish metal company where we bought all our metal roofing. That's where we're going to buy the metal roofing and all the trim for this. And then they're going to custom make us a chimney cap that goes on the top. We'll show you all that later, but we've kind of got all that worked out so we know what we're dealing with before we build something that we can't put a top on.
Got all of the pieces of the chimney chase set up, measured, sat it up against the beam or the post downstairs, set the screws, like preset all the screws, and I think we're about ready to go.
We measured 300 times at once. We've never done this before, but like everything else we do. But it's so tricky getting the angle and getting the right height for everything. But we put it all together. We dry fitted it downstairs, and I'm pretty sure it's good to go. And it's really not even windy today, according to Francesca. So this should be a breeze.
Oh shush! Go strap up, suit up, and let's put this chimney up today.
So as soon as we got done with the chimney, it's rained for 2 days. So today's our first day back, and it's like 80 in the 80s.
Hot.
Yeah, I know people in the South, because I'm from the South. People in the South are going, what weenies. 80 up here is hot. It's like 100 down there. I don't know why, but anyway.
Well, then we're working on the roof, and it's that foil-faced insulation, which just like reflects the heat. It's awful. It's so bad to be up there.
Anyway, so we've done all our measurements. We hope they're right, and no, but we've decided exactly what our overhangs are. We made all the strapping that holds the insulation down a little bit long, so we had leeway to decide exactly what we wanted our overhangs to be. So we've decided that for the ends and on both eaves, and we've measured eave to peak and all that stuff. So we're about to snap a line across the front to our measurement, to our numbers, and then we're ready to start sheathing it, the second layer of sheathing with OSB, getting closer and closer to putting the metal on it.
Yep. Okay, so it's the next day. Eddie and I got done putting that last board up, which you guys saw, the last sheet of roofing sheathing. When we got done, we looked at it and we were like, that doesn't look amazing, right? It was a little bit crooked and we were like, what did we do wrong? So we questioned all of our measurements and where we went wrong, why was it shorter on one end than the other. Basically, if you guys were around for when the concrete was originally poured for the foundation, the basement, all of that stuff, you know that the 4-foot wall that we had out there for the deck on one end of the house, that wall was poured a little bit crooked. So instead of measuring the square house from end to end, we measured from one end of the house all the way out to the deck, and I think that's where we went wrong. So this morning, Eddie and I came out here. We took down all of the sheathing panels that we had put up yesterday and started from scratch, figured it out, and we're rocking and rolling now. So we are working on getting the first row of sheathing back up again.
Up, so when we get done, we'll see what it looks like.
It looks so much better than when we had two panels up yesterday. Yeah, so I think we're on the right track.
If only we had stopped after putting up 2 panels yesterday just to double check, but we felt confident that, well,
it would all work out.
All our measurements were right.
Yeah.
We just measured the wrong place.
Yeah, we measured the wrong place. So anyways, we're gonna show you in just a second the final product, and hopefully it's right. Okay, this looks so much better than it did yesterday. It looks right on line. It looks straight. We are so happy right now because yesterday we left here after putting up that first row and we were like, what the fudge is happening? Happy dance. Good morning, everybody. It has been several days since we filmed anything. We've been kind of in and out of house building due to some travel plans and things like that. So We've been working on the OSB roof sheathing for about a week now, and we are about to put up the final board on the front of the roof. We've already started working on the back. We did that yesterday afternoon when the back of the house was kind of shaded from the sun. It has been extremely hot lately, so we've been really trying to beat the heat, work around the heat, all that good stuff. But we're back at it early this morning so that we can finish up the front, and then we're gonna move to the back and start working on the back some more. So thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for being patient. This is what we've been up to, and we can't wait to share more.
So we finished the OSB on top of the strapping for the front, and we left our strapping long so that we could get a consistent overhang instead of trying to measure it and cut each board to the exact length, which, as you know, we're not that great at sometimes. So now I'm coming back and I'm using the OSB where we snapped a straight line, using the OSB as a guide, and I'm cutting all the strapping off at our 35.5 angle so that we can mount our fascia boards on the front.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are gonna pretend that we just fast forwarded 3 weeks in this video right now, because in real life, we did just fast forward 3 weeks. So we were out of town for my daughter's 3-week intensive therapy program in Boston. So we took a little 3-week hiatus from building, but we were not great at capturing all of the things that we did get done before we left, and that was putting up, oh, we can't see this from here, hold on. We put up all of the OSB on the back half of the roof. We've also trimmed all of the strapping boards to length on both sides of the roof and the eave. So we are ready to start putting up trim boards, fascia boards, whatever you call them. That's Eddie terminology. No, that's house building terminology. Eddie knows what the proper term is, but trim board, fascia board, that sort of thing. So that's what we're working on now. We're gonna show you guys a little bit of what we're doing today, and then I'm gonna wrap up this video because I have no idea where this video started, but we're just gonna call it a day on this particular video, if that makes sense. Okay. It's also very windy. I hope you guys can hear me. Are you happy to be back supervising a house build, or would you rather be back in Boston doing your really, really hard therapy work? No, this is the life, isn't it? You were born to be a supervisor.
So these are our trim boards for the eave and the rake ends of our roof. This is our fascia for the front. And so we're just ripping an angle that's equivalent to the pitch of our roof, which is 35.5 degrees is the degrees, the angle we're cutting. And that way we'll have a smooth transition from the roof surface down to the trim board, and then that's all going to get covered with metal.